So sorry, Barb, we didn't catch anything before this, so I'm assuming you've introduced everybody, myself and Rahul as well.
Absolutely. So feel free to reintroduce, but the folks on the phone either should know who you are or have heard my prior introduction. So take things away. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So good morning, everybody. I guess as Barb might have introduced me already, my name is Varnad Kurumuri, and I'm a product analyst at Celero. I also act as the product owner for DNAapps. I've had the pleasure of being a part of this incredible team, and we brought many DNAapps to life. I'll be walking you through this demo, and Rahul will chime in between slides to help me explain this a little bit better. So before I show you how some of the latest DNAapps work, I'd like to give you a quick insight into how these apps come to life. All the activities we conduct within the development team are driven by our end users. It is yourself. It all starts when we receive an idea on our ideas portal. I'm sure many of you have visited our ideas portal, and if you haven't, it is available at ideas.celero.ca. I'll give you a quick tour of that shortly, and I do encourage you to check it out as there's a wealth of ideas. Within the ideas portal, any employee from your credit union is able to submit an idea that you think is beneficial to the end member. You're also able to comment on existing ideas, engage in conversation with your peers, vote on ideas, and also subscribe to ideas that you think you're interested in. The process of voting helps us vet and determine which ideas are the most valuable across the portfolio of our credit unions. Those ideas that receive a lot of attention are usually the ones that end up getting to the top of our backlog. The backlog is then put to a vote with our ERBGC subcommittee, and we come up with the final list of DNAapps that we'd like to develop. Once we know what the next few apps are that we're going to work on, we're able to contact the credit union that submitted the idea and have them help us craft and also perfect the solution. This gives you, as the credit union that submitted the idea, to have a say in what the final solution looks like. And also the ideas will ensure that it also ensures that we think of all the possibilities. We have found that this user-centric method of development ensures that we capture all the requirements and the little details that we might overlook as a development team sometimes. Our development team also uses the Scrum Agile methodology to develop apps. In this process, the credit union that submitted the idea or the credit union that chooses to be the subject matter expert will attend the planning sessions and also a daily stand-up so that they know exactly what's happening with the app. Once the development is completed, the subject matter expert usually helps us test and validate that we've captured all the requirements as well. Throughout this iterative process, our idea on our external on our ideas portal is constantly updated so that you receive notifications and there's transparency and visibility as to exactly where the idea is in its life cycle. So at this time, we have 11 DNAapps on the DNA App Store. 3 apps are currently in validation. We have 10 apps that are currently in the backlog. And we also have 53 DNA app ideas on our ideas portal. So I'll give you a quick tour of the Fiserv DNA App Store. So you are able to see where you can find additional apps. So the Fiserv DNA App Store is available at DNAappstore.com. Here you can see that there's a wealth of ideas and applications that not just Celero has developed, but Fiserv, other credit unions, and other credit unions partners have developed. So feel free to browse through these apps and see if you're interested in something. So some of the recently added apps do include the 3 apps that we've launched to you. So the Transaction Express Account Status Alert, transfer limit view, and also the quick access panel. So when you go into a DNA app, you're able to learn a little bit more about it. So you'll see an overview, the specs, any reviews that other credit unions might have posted, what the requirements are, any system updates that are required, and also, of course, documentation. So this is where we pointed all our credit unions to review documentation for setup and other items. So when you open that, you're able to see exactly what the app is, why we've developed it, what the benefits are. So Fiserv, and also there's information on product setup and how the app is processed and so on. Just going back. So if you are interested in an app that's not developed by Celero, you are able to trial it in your test environments and make sure it's working for you the way they say it's supposed to be working. When you are ready, there's a paid version so that you can license and deploy it to the rest of your environments and into production. So throughout this process, if you are interested in an app that's not developed by Celero or that's developed by Celero, do contact your client advocate and they'll help you walk you through the process. There's also, Fiserv's also offering a limited time offer until the end of the year where any app that you purchase is 20% off. So if you see say the deposit fee refund tool, just opening that right now. Oh, doesn't work. So regardless, all the DNA apps on the Fiserv DNA App Store are 20% off until the end of the year. So moving along, I want to also give you a quick overview of our ideas portal. So our ideas portal currently has 125 ideas. It gives you the ability to vote, to subscribe, and comment on ideas. On our ideas portal, you will also find roadmaps, a link to our roadmaps as well. So this is what the ideas portal looks like. It's available at ideas.celero.ca, and we have over 125 ideas that are available for you to review. So I do really encourage you to sign up. And so it's very simple. You just go to ideas.celero.ca, put in your work email address, and then it'll send you a verification ID, a verification email, and then once you verify your email, it'll let you select a password and you're able to sign up there. As you notice here on the left side, you're able to filter ideas by statuses. Through our product development funnel, at this point, we have 16 ideas that are currently in discovery, 13 that are under development, and you'll also see that there's a bucket for future consideration. These ideas for future consideration are ideas that we might not be able to do today or right away, but we will consider them in the future. So any idea that you add will get tagged to one of these. We'll either review that now and provide you with an answer as to are we going to develop the idea today? Are we going to do it later? Does it already exist? Or will we not implement? So there is a potential that some ideas don't align strategically with Celero's goals, and we might choose not to develop those. In order to add an idea, just click on Add an Idea, and it gives you a quick form to add your ideas here. As you start typing your idea, the ideas portal is intelligent enough to look at all the existing ideas that are already on the portal and let you know if that particular idea has already been submitted. When you do add a new idea, please add some detail. If we do require some more information, we will get back to you and ask you for more information. So this particular app idea here has 108 votes. It's one of the more popular votes here. And as you see below, there's comments and conversations that happen. In this particular case, we were exploring if there was already an app that addressed the solution, and we ended up realizing that it didn't address the app that we're looking for. So back to the presentation. Today, I'd like to showcase 5 apps, 3 of which were deployed to your environments on November 27th. So the Transaction Express, Account Status Alert, the Quick Access Panel, the e-Transfer Limit Viewer are available today. 2 apps that are in validation and should be available sometime early next year are the User Field Update with the spreadsheet and also the Person Occupation DNAapp. So the idea for the Transaction Express Account Status Alert comes from a credit union that was expressing the need to know that a person or an organization are either in a delinquent or in an overdraft status when that person visits the credit union. This app notifies the teller on the Transaction Express screen that one or many of the members' accounts are in an overdraft or in a delinquent status. This does provide them an opportunity to advise the member that their accounts need attention. A pop-up message shows up on the Transaction Express screen that includes the account number, along with the amount of overdraft and the number of days it's been delinquent. It will look at all of the members or organization's accounts. So from here, you could either address the overdraft or create an appointment for your to review the members' accounts. Also, most members just simply don't pay attention to their accounts, and when they don't notice that their accounts are in overdraft, they might rack up large fees from your credit union. So this app aims to prevent the accumulation of fees and proactively advise your member that they need to pay attention to their accounts. So here is a quick demo of what this app looks like. The first thing you'll need to do is find a person or an account number and go over to their Transaction Express screen. So here on the right side, I'm just picking a person. I've opened the Transaction Express screen. And once I select an account, you'll see in the center of the screen that a pop-up will show displaying the account number that's been delinquent and the number of days it's been delinquent. Also, the account that's been overdraft and the amount that's due on that particular account. The exciting part about this app is that it'll look at any account that's connected to that member. So it doesn't have to be that particular account that you're transacting on. It could be one of the other accounts that's related to them as well. So I'll pause here and ask to see if there are any questions.
When you say connected to that member, do you mean a tax roll or non-tax roll?
It's the owner on the account. If the person is a primary owner on the account, then this shows up.
It's just the primary, so not the non-tax owners?
No, just the owner on the account, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And at any time, if you have questions, feel free to add a question into the message box on the Skype window. Okay, I'll move on to the next app. So this app is the Quick Access Panel. This app is one of those apps that we're extremely excited about, and we had a lot of fun developing. So this aims to create workflows for activities that require navigating multiple screens through menus. It really shines when your credit union needs to complete a full review of a member or an organization for regulatory or really any other purpose. It serves as a significant time saving by creating a workflow of screens. Once the workflow is built, the person that's completing the review can simply click on the next screen and click Closer Process, and they're brought back to the first screen. So I'll show you exactly what that means. So on the screen here, I'll display a quick demo. First, showing you how the maintenance screens work. So your institution will have the access to create your own workflows. It's done by going to the institutional options and navigating to the group maintenance screen. From here, you're able to select a group name and also to select if the group maintenance is for a person or an organization. Here, I've created a test person workflow, and I'm able to add available screens into the workflow. Do note that the only screens that are available are the ones that are listed in the field in the available box on the bottom left side of your screen. Once you click process, it's ready to go, and you're able to navigate to the person or the organization screen, and then from there on the right side, you'll notice a slide out. I'm just looking for a member here, and on the right side, I'll quickly pop up the Easy Screen Launcher screen. So in this case, it'll pop up with the groups, and it knows that it's a person that you're looking at, so it'll only show you the person workflows that are available. So this is a test group that I've created. We've pre-created one for FinTrack in this test environment. And as you see, I've clicked on address. I'm able to go into the address screen for that person, do my work, and then click close or process, and then you're brought back to the first screen. So this really saves time by removing the need to have to navigate multiple screens. So you're just able to create a workflow for anything that you'd like to review the person or the organization. I'll pause here quickly to see if we have any questions. Okay, excellent. Moving on to the third app that was released this weekend. This is the e-Transfer Limits app. The e-Transfer Limits app helps with member inquiries about Interact e-transfers or member direct me-to-me transfers. This is a slide out on the relationship profile screen, and it gives you a full overview of the e-transfer limits, including the allowed limit, the utilized limit, and the remaining limit. Again, it works with any e-transfer products such as Interact e-transfer, member direct me-to-me, and it can also be expanded in the future for new Interact e-transfers that will be coming shortly. In order to answer the question about the remaining limit today, credit unions have to go through an intensive process where they have to manually add up transactions and let the member know why their Interact e-transfers had failed. So this app brings everything together and makes it really easy for your credit union to view a snapshot. Once the configuration is complete and the e-transfer access types or codes are set, you'll be able to see those e-transfer limits on the slide out on the relationship profile screen for both person and organization. This app will consider all the transactions originating from a particular account with the e-transfer access type code and display the utilized limit, the allowed limit, and the remaining limit. So for a quick demo, I'm just going to show you what the app looks like. So if you look on the right side of your screen, here we have the member direct EMT credits limit, member direct EMT debits, so that those are the Interact e-transfers, and also the me-to-me limits as well. So I'll pause here to see if there are any questions, and also to see if any questions have come in on the comments section. Perfect.
I have a question. It's Tony.
Yes.
I haven't had much time to look at this yet, but I'm looking at your screen and seeing the member direct EMT debits, and the allowed is all 9s. Where is that picking that up from?
So that's how the limits are set up within the test environment here. But basically, the 9999 denotes that the limits are not being handled within DNA, Rather, they're being passed on to Central 1 and Interact for the limits. So in this case, you will be able to see what the utilized is.
Okay, so that's probably the only field there then that we would really want to look at is the utilized, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So again,
Thank
if
you.
the limits are being handled in DNA, you'll be able to see that. But if we're passing them along to Central 1, it'll show the 999s. So in this case, if you look at the limit limit number 4 here per year, it says $50,000. So that means it's being handled within DNA.
Varna, it's Pearl calling from Mountain View. With respect to the 999s and the default limits, I understand that table. That could be potentially confusing for a member seeing that the allowed limit is 99999. Is there a way that we can either block that part of the table?
So member
displaying?
Yes, thank you so much, Pearl. So the member would never see this, right? So it'd just be the credit union, so it'd be a training item. And then in the future iterations of the app, we can look at seeing if we can hide that as well, or put in a default number that shows a particular way. So again, the feedback and input into the development process is really important. It is your comments and your ideas that help us figure out what to do next. So in this case, we will take that idea. And Pearl, if you do want to comment on the idea within the idea, if we can make that update.
Yeah, thank you. It would be helpful if the member could query that through Member Direct.
Yes, that's also an idea that we've been floating around. So hopefully we'll work on that as well. So we've been able to address the first use case where we're giving the credit union the opportunity to, or the ability to see what's there. And from here, we'll take it a step forward and continue to improve upon that.
Great.
So maybe something else that could be considered there is if it's using Central 1's limits, then populate them, because we know what their limits are, right? So that might, I can put that in on the portal as well.
Absolutely, thank you. And yeah, absolutely to that point, they're not changing constantly. I do know that there are some changes coming along soon, but it is something that doesn't change on a day-to-day basis, so we could absolutely look into that. Thank you so much. And the next app, the next two apps, the user field updates and also the person occupation apps, these are, oh, there's a question on the comments.
So there's a question from Foam Lake CU. They're asking, are the limits per person or tax owner? Yeah. So the limits are per person. So it's basically E agreement. So you set the limits at the E agreement level for that person. Does that answer your question? I don't know. So they are on mute. Can we unmute?
Just looking to see here, are we trying to unmute them?
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be working on our member.
Our apologies, Foam Lake. If you, sorry, do you have access now to speak? Never mind. So if you would like to leave a comment, that's great. On the Ideas portal is perfect. Or reach out to anybody on the team here, and we'll continue to have that discussion.
Yeah, if you can provide us more information on what's not working, then we'll take care of that. We'll investigate further.
So moving on, the next two apps are the user field update and the person occupation. These two apps are currently in validation with Fiserv, and we're aiming to release them to everybody sometime early next year. So the first app, the user field update, nobody really likes the monotony of entering data. When you create a new user field and try and update information for hundreds and hundreds of members or organizations or accounts manually, it's not the most efficient use of time, and it's prone to errors. This app enables those with access to the system settings to mass upload user fields for a CSV. For instance, if your credit union is collecting website names for organization accounts, instead of manually navigating to each one of the organizations, you can simply create a CSV with the information and upload that. This app also works with updating existing data as well. The application lets you import a CSV with account or member numbers and a new value for a user-defined field. At this time, the app only supports one type of user field update at a time, but we'll look to enhance that in the future. Field validations and error handling is also built in to ensure that you're uploading the right data into the right fields. So this app enables you to introduce new user fields with ease and upload data into them as well. It significantly reduces the amount of time it takes, and also reduces and ensures that your data is accurate. So the last app that I'll go through a detailed walkthrough is the person occupation app. So this app gives Canadian credit unions with the ability to select the National Occupation Classification Code, or the NOC code, easily and accurately. It enables front-end users to easily search through a list of codes with phrases. For instance, if a person's employed as an economic analyst, instead of browsing and looking for the right code, your users will be able to search for an analyst and pick the most relevant occupation from the search results. You'll also be able to edit the fields. And additionally, the app will also let you upload NOC code data that's available from the Government of Canada into DNA and ensure your NOC codes are up to date. So it increases the accuracy of the code that's being picked, makes it easy to search, and also ensures that you can update if an update is required. It saves time and effort by eliminating the need to type out these fields. And it's also making maintenance easy. So for a demo of this app, it's available on the person or the member screen. So I'm looking for a member here. Once I've found the screen, I navigate to additional and into the person occupation section. Here you'll see that you're able to query for a particular profession. In this case, I'm looking for an analyst, and every item with an analyst will show up. In this case, it's really easy to drop down and pick exactly what you're looking for. And this information is automatically populated into the NOC code section. You're able to commit this information and save it to DNA. And also in the future, if you have to update a part or all of that information, it's really easy to do so. These fields are still editable, and you're able to make changes there. So on the last two apps, do we have any questions?
I have a question. So today we record the occupation in the marketing occupation field, and so is this now a different spot where we'll be recording occupation on person records?
Yes. So basically, here you have the in the marketing screen, you can only select the code, the NOC code, but there is no way you can select the job title for that person. So yeah, if you want to get more information on a person, so you'll be going to this screen and selecting the job title. not just the unit group. Basically, that's a knock. And as part of this app, we also have updated, we have come up with a new link between the person occupation and the marketing, that occupation table. So basically, you can update the occupation table with the data that you have in the person occupation app. So there's a link there. You can use. So there is a new screen that you can use to link these two screens together and update the data in both screens.
Okay, because that occupation field is mapped to quite a few things, like forms for one and Verifin for another.
Yes, I understand that. So that's why we came up with this link between these two. So you can,
Okay.
So you can, if you can link your marketing screen to this person occupation if that's a requirement.
And we also had a comment saying this doesn't seem to be working on our member. So these apps are still in validation, so we haven't launched them just yet. So it'll be sometime next year. So do keep an eye out on the ideas portal. We'll be updating the idea as it moves along there. And before it's launched, once the validation is complete, we'll switch the idea to ready to launch so that you know that it's coming and you can ask us any questions or make preparations on your side as well.
Hi there. Is this going to be part of the wizard?
This is going to be a part of the wizard, the new member creation wizard?
Yes.
No, not at this time. So this will be a standalone screen.
Okay.
So, Mark, your question around the released ones are available to all credit unions for testing. Yes. So all credit unions that are part of the ERBGC have had this installed, the 3 apps that I initially talked about. They've been installed in your systems this weekend. So a bulletin was sent out 2 weeks before, just giving you a heads up that it's coming. So they are available for you to test and start using. Okay, so there are no other questions at this time. I'll continue. So at this point, I'd like to give you a quick overview of some of the other DNA apps that Celero has created. So at this point, we have 11 apps on the Fiserv DNA App Store, with many coming shortly. So some of our other apps include the social media contact information app, where you're able to collect your members' social media tags, the retirement plan annual summary app, which allows you to easily see up to 7 years of historical data from retirement accounts. The member card wizard provides an easy way to set up new debit cards. The mailing label app lets you easily print mailing labels for members or organizations and their associated accounts. The MAD retirement update, this one's almost ready. We found a new use case that we've included in that. But basically, this app will let you update the minimum annual distribution amount that the system has calculated on your retirement screens. The employee activity monitor screen that provides an easy way to monitor, review employee activity. The e-agreement disclaimer flag allows you to mass reset the e-agreement disclaimer flag. So that's a disclaimer flag that shows up on direct when a member logs in at a particular time. So some of these apps were funded by the ERBGC, and they are available to the ERBGC participating credit unions for free. Some of these apps were funded by Celero, so they are available to you at a cost. So for instance, when we do have the MAD retirement update app, we'll let you, there will be pricing associated with that, and we'll let you know how much that will be. So I'll pause here and see if there are any questions. question from Lil Cross asking if there's any other setup that's required as per the user guide, or if the install is ready to go. So yes, there is a little bit of setup that's required. So just configuration on your side that's required for the 3 apps that have been launched to start working. So this kind of gives you some control as to when and how you want to start deploying and start using it within your credit union. So for instance, all that information is within the DNA App Store and within the user guide. So I'll quickly show you what that looks like for the Transaction Express account status alert DNA app. So in this instance, there is some product setup, and for the other 2 apps as well, there is product setup that's required. So in this case, you just have to navigate to the institution settings, applications, and then select the Transaction Express screen. There, you just need to enable the slide out. So until this is done, your employees won't see this. So this gives you an opportunity to control when it's launched within your credit union. So if you do have to prepare communications and get that information out to your employees, you're able to do that.
So it's up to each individual credit union can do it. They don't need Celero's help to enable them?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Celero's part is done, so it's been tested and it's been launched to your environments, and from here it's just configuration on the part of the individual credit union.
So I've been noticing some of the credit unions are having issues with their members not working. Do you share those issues with all the credit unions?
Yes, so if there's anything significant that we find, we'll usually tag that information on the Ideas portal. We'll also include information on what's coming up next for that particular app there as well. So I think on that member question, I think the question was on the 2 apps that were still in validation. So those are an exception to the, those are still yet to come, so that's why they wouldn't work. Ed has asked if the three apps made available this weekend are in production. Yes, Ed, they are in production right now. There are 2 slide outs in our production and have not done any setup. So for Rahul's going to take the question.
Okay, so even though you are seeing the slide out, but you won't be getting all the information in there. So you still have to do some setup by going to the product setup steps for each app.
It'll look empty right now. Yeah. So for instance, the Workflow Easy Screen Launcher app, in the drop-down, you will not see any information there, so they can't really do anything with it.
Or you will see the default one, that FinTrack one, so maybe that's by default, but you won't see anything else, so you still have to go in and create your own flows.
Okay. Same question from Horizon Credit Union as well. Yeah. Any other questions?
The e-transfer limits seem to be working already without any setup.
Right. So if it's already set up, the limits are already set up in your environment, then they will just show up. But then you can always change it. So if you look at the e-transfer limit user doc, you will see there are some new calc vars we have created. So if those are already set in your environment, then, because those are all default, so you can always go in and change those. So with the DNA app install, there are some default settings we've configured, but you can also go in and change those.
Yeah, we're seeing some of these or pieces of these in production as well, and I'm not sure that we fully understood that would happen, and so now we're kind of backtracking and scrambling to get some information out to our staff, because I don't know if they've just stumbled across it or if they are going to, but we didn't pre-communicate to them that there was going to be changes to these slide outs. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, so these are brand new slide outs, right? So we haven't changed any existing slide out. So
to add to that point as well, like if there's any functionality change or something that's going to impact, it's being so you wouldn't see that. So for instance, a transaction express screen. But in the case of the workflows and things like that, the slide outs will just show up, but there will be limited nor functionality. And on the e-transfer limits one, it's just information only. So there's nothing that you can do from there. So as a result, it will appear, but there's nothing other than information there. So there's no...
If I can also interject, Varnet, it's Barb for everyone's benefit. It sounds like there could have been a different way to have communicated what the requirements in for pre-setup or post-setup in the bulletin that would have gone out prior to the production installs. You would have received that about 2 weeks ago. So this is actually great feedback on how we can improve the messaging in those pre-install bulletins as well, I think, to address that, Tony.
Thanks, Barb.
And I'm seeing some similar feedback from Lil as well in the chat message that this webinar probably could have been helpful as a pre-install item. So also good feedback on how we can be communicating in advance to give you the information that you need. So that's what we'll target before the next set of any DNAapp installs, is to ensure that we can have this kind of a session with you if you're interested, and as well ensure that any pre-install bulletins, we'll probably actually take some of the tactics that are used in the core release documentation on pre-setup, post-setup, that kind of thing. I think we can help with that amount of clarity.
Perfect. Thank you, Barb. So at this time, if there's no other questions, feel free to reach out to communications@solera.ca with any questions. Our ideas portal is open to you. So if there are any ideas that'll help end members, you can go add a new idea, comment on existing ideas, and if you have any feedback, additional feedback on the apps that have been launched, please feel free to go and add your comments there on the ideas portal as well. And as to Barb's point, we'll absolutely take this feedback into consideration for the next iteration of apps that we'll be launching sometime early next year. So I do want to thank you for taking the time to attend the webinar. Really hope it was a positive experience and it was useful. And we'll definitely do it before the app is launched next time. So thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.